Hello, we're excited to present this comprehensive episode focused on professional business communication and workplace dialogue mastery for intermediate English learners.
Welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. I'm Sarah, and together with my colleague Michael, we'll guide you through essential business conversations, professional scenarios, and career development discussions that will enhance your workplace communication effectiveness.
I'm Michael, and today's episode addresses the communication challenges that intermediate learners face in professional environments. We'll explore realistic workplace dialogues, examine business vocabulary and context, and provide practical strategies for successful professional interactions.
This hour-long session combines authentic business conversations with detailed analysis of communication strategies, professional etiquette, and career advancement techniques that distinguish successful professionals in competitive workplace environments.
Professional communication effectiveness depends heavily on understanding contextual nuances, appropriate formality levels, and strategic message construction that achieve specific business objectives while maintaining positive working relationships.
Successful workplace communication requires more than grammatical accuracy. It demands cultural awareness, audience consideration, and tactical approach selection that demonstrates professional competence while advancing career goals and organizational objectives.
Today's dialogue examples reflect real workplace situations that intermediate learners encounter regularly. Each conversation demonstrates practical application of business vocabulary, professional etiquette principles, and strategic communication techniques that enhance workplace effectiveness.
We'll examine various professional scenarios, including project coordination meetings, performance evaluation discussions, client presentation preparation, conflict resolution conversations, and networking interactions that provide comprehensive exposure to business communication patterns.
Let's begin with a project coordination meeting scenario. This dialogue demonstrates how teams discuss timelines, allocate resources, and coordinate deliverables while maintaining professional courtesy and clear communication standards.
Project meetings require participants to balance multiple competing priorities while ensuring that all stakeholders understand their responsibilities, deadlines, and success criteria. Effective project communication prevents misunderstandings and maintains momentum towards successful completion.
Good morning, Sarah. I appreciate you joining today's project coordination meeting. We need to address the timeline concerns that emerged during yesterday's client review and determine our revised approach for the upcoming deliverables.
Thank you for organizing this discussion, Michael. I've reviewed the client feedback from yesterday's presentation, and I agree that we need to recalibrate our timeline expectations while maintaining the quality standards that define our professional reputation.
The client expressed particular concern about the market research component timeline. They're requesting delivery 2 weeks earlier than originally planned, which presents significant challenges for our data collection and analysis processes.
I understand their urgency, but accelerating the research timeline without compromising data quality requires additional resources. We could engage external research consultants to supplement our internal capabilities while maintaining project oversight and quality control.
That's a pragmatic solution. What would be the budget implications of bringing in external consultants? We need to balance client satisfaction with project profitability while maintaining that we deliver exceptional results within the revised parameters.
The additional consultant fees would represent approximately 15% of our current project budget. However, meeting the accelerated timeline could strengthen our client relationship and potentially generate additional project opportunities that offset these immediate costs.
Let's explore this further. Could you prepare a detailed proposal that outlines the consultant engagement strategy, revised timeline, and budget adjustments? We should present this to the project steering committee before committing to any significant changes.
Absolutely. I'll coordinate with our procurement team to identify qualified consultants and develop a comprehensive proposal that addresses timeline acceleration while maintaining our quality commitments and budget parameters.
Professional communication effectiveness depends heavily on understanding contextual nuances, appropriate formality levels, and strategic message construction that achieve specific business objectives while maintaining positive working relationships.
Successful workplace communication requires more than grammatical accuracy. It demands cultural awareness, audience consideration, and tactical approach selection that demonstrates professional competence while advancing career goals and organizational objectives.
Today's dialogue examples reflect real workplace situations that intermediate learners encounter regularly. Each conversation demonstrates practical application of business vocabulary, professional etiquette principles, and strategic communication techniques that enhance workplace effectiveness.
We'll examine various professional scenarios, including project coordination meetings, performance evaluation discussions, client presentation preparation, conflict resolution conversations, and networking interactions that provide comprehensive exposure to business communication patterns.
Let's begin with a project coordination meeting scenario. This dialogue demonstrates how teams discuss timelines, allocate resources, and coordinate deliverables while maintaining professional courtesy and clear communication standards.
Project meetings require participants to balance multiple competing priorities while ensuring that all stakeholders understand their responsibilities, deadlines, and success criteria. Effective project communication prevents misunderstandings and maintains momentum towards successful completion.
Good morning, Sarah. I appreciate you joining today's project coordination meeting. We need to address the timeline concerns that emerged during yesterday's client review and determine our revised approach for the upcoming deliverables.
Thank you for organizing this discussion, Michael. I've reviewed the client feedback from yesterday's presentation, and I agree that we need to recalibrate our timeline expectations while maintaining the quality standards that define our professional reputation.
The client expressed particular concern about the market research component timeline. They're requesting delivery 2 weeks earlier than originally planned, which presents significant challenges for our data collection and analysis processes.
I understand their urgency, but accelerating the research timeline without compromising data quality requires additional resources. We could engage external research consultants to supplement our internal capabilities while maintaining project oversight and quality control.
That's a pragmatic solution. What would be the budget implications of bringing in external consultants? We need to balance client satisfaction with project profitability while ensuring that we deliver exceptional results within the revised parameters.
The additional consultant fees would represent approximately 15% of our current project budget. However, meeting the accelerated timeline could strengthen our client relationship and potentially generate additional project opportunities that offset these immediate costs.
Let's explore this option further. Could you prepare a detailed proposal that outlines the consultant engagement strategy, revised timeline, and budget adjustments? We should present this to the project steering committee before committing to any significant changes.
Absolutely. I'll coordinate with our procurement team to identify qualified consultants and develop a comprehensive proposal that addresses timeline acceleration while maintaining our quality commitments and budget parameters.
Performance evaluation conversations require a delicate balance between honest assessment and constructive guidance that promotes professional development while maintaining employee motivation and engagement.
These discussions provide opportunities to recognize achievements, address improvement areas, and establish development goals that align individual career aspirations with organizational objectives and growth requirements.
Michael, I'd like to discuss your performance over the past quarter and explore opportunities for continued professional development within our organization. Your contributions to the client acquisition initiative have been particularly noteworthy.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss my progress and receive feedback on areas where I can enhance my effectiveness. The client acquisition project has been both challenging and rewarding from a professional development perspective.
Your presentation skills have improved significantly since our last evaluation. The client feedback consistently highlights your ability to communicate complex technical concepts in accessible language that resonates with diverse stakeholder groups.
I've been working deliberately to enhance my presentation capabilities through public speaking workshops and regular practice sessions. The investment in communication skill development has improved my confidence and effectiveness in client-facing situations.
That initiative demonstrates excellent professional judgment. Looking forward, I'd like to discuss potential leadership opportunities that could leverage your communication strengths while expanding your project management experience and strategic thinking capabilities.
Leadership development aligns perfectly with my career aspirations. I'm particularly interested in opportunities that combine client relationship management with team coordination responsibilities that contribute to organizational growth and success.
We have an upcoming cross-functional project that requires someone with your client communication skills and technical background. This role would involve coordinating multiple departments while maintaining direct client contact throughout the implementation process.
That opportunity sounds ideal for applying my existing strengths while developing new competencies. What timeline are you considering for this transition, and what preparation would enhance my readiness for these expanded responsibilities?
Client presentation preparation conversations demonstrate how teams collaborate to develop compelling proposals while addressing client needs and competitive positioning that maximize proposal success probability.
These discussions require strategic thinking about client priorities, competitive advantages,
These discussions require strategic thinking about client priorities, competitive advantages, and presentation techniques that differentiate proposals while demonstrating clear value propositions and implementation capabilities. Sarah, we need to finalize our approach for next week's client presentation. The stakes are particularly high given the competitive bidding process and the potential for long-term partnership development with this organization.
I agree that this presentation represents a significant opportunity. I've been analyzing the client's stated requirements alongside their organizational culture and decision-making patterns to develop a presentation strategy that resonates with their specific priorities.
What insights have you gathered about their decision-making criteria? Understanding their evaluation process will help us structure our presentation to address their most important considerations while highlighting our competitive advantages.
Their previous vendor selections suggest they prioritize implementation experience over cost considerations. They value proven track records, detailed project management approaches, and ongoing support capabilities that ensure successful long-term outcomes.
That aligns with our organizational strengths. We should emphasize our implementation methodology, showcase relevant case studies, and detail our post-implementation support structure. How should we structure the presentation to maximize impact while respecting their time constraints?
I recommend opening with a brief executive summary that outlines our understanding of their challenges and our proposed solution approach. Then we can present detailed implementation plans with specific timelines and success metrics that demonstrate our thorough preparation.
Excellent framework. Let's allocate time for interactive discussion where they can ask questions and provide feedback on our proposed approach. Client engagement during presentations often reveals additional requirements or concerns that we can address proactively.
I'll prepare several scenario-based questions that encourage client participation while demonstrating our flexibility and problem-solving capabilities. Interactive presentations typically generate more positive client responses than purely informational approaches.
Conflict resolution conversations require careful attention to emotional dynamics, factual accuracy, and solution-focused approaches that address underlying issues while preserving professional relationships and workplace productivity.
These challenging discussions test communication skills, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving capabilities while requiring diplomatic approaches that satisfy multiple stakeholders without compromising organizational objectives or individual dignity.
Michael, I'd like to address the communication challenges that emerged during yesterday's team meeting. Several team members expressed concern about project direction clarity and decision-making processes that affect their daily work responsibilities.
I appreciate you bringing this to my attention directly, rather than allowing concerns to escalate further. I recognize that recent project changes may have created confusion about roles and responsibilities that impact team effectiveness and morale.
The team values clear communication and consistent direction. When project parameters change frequently without comprehensive explanation, team members struggle to maintain productivity while adapting to new requirements and expectations.
You're absolutely right. I should have provided more detailed context about the client-driven changes and their implications for our project approach. Transparent communication about change rationales helps teams adapt more effectively while maintaining commitment to project success.
Moving forward, how can we establish communication protocols that ensure team members receive timely updates about project changes, along with sufficient context to understand the reasoning behind new directions and requirements?
Let's implement weekly project update meetings where we discuss any changes, explain their rationale, and address team questions or concerns proactively. This approach should prevent confusion while maintaining team engagement and productivity.
That's an excellent solution. I also suggest creating a shared project documentation system where team members can access current requirements, timelines, and change histories that provide ongoing reference points for their daily work activities.
Perfect. I'll coordinate with our project management office to establish these communication improvements. Thank you for addressing this issue constructively rather than allowing team concerns to impact project outcomes negatively.
Networking conversations at professional events require strategic relationship building that balances personal authenticity with professional objectives while creating mutual value for ongoing business relationship development.
Effective networking involves genuine interest in others' professional experiences combined with clear communication about your capabilities and objectives that creates foundation for meaningful professional connections and future collaboration opportunities.
Sarah, it's wonderful to see you at the industry conference. How has your experience been so far? I'm particularly interested in your thoughts on the emerging technology trends that several speakers have addressed today.
The conference has exceeded my expectations for both educational content and networking opportunities. The conference has exceeded my expectations for both educational content and networking opportunities. The Artificial Intelligence Applications panel this morning provided valuable insights into automation trends that could significantly impact our industry practices.
I attended that session as well. The discussion about workflow automation potential was fascinating, particularly the case studies demonstrating productivity improvements without corresponding job displacement concerns that often accompany technological advancement.
Exactly. The speakers emphasized that successful automation implementation requires strategic human-technology integration rather than simple replacement approaches. This perspective aligns with our organizational philosophy about technology enhancement rather than workforce reduction.
Your organization's approach to technology integration has generated considerable industry attention. I'd be interested in learning more about your implementation strategies and perhaps exploring potential collaboration opportunities where our complementary capabilities could create mutual value.
I appreciate your interest. We're always seeking strategic partnerships with organizations that share our commitment to ethical technology implementation and client-focused service delivery. What specific collaboration areas interest you most from a strategic perspective?
Our expertise in change management consulting could complement your technology implementation capabilities. Many organizations struggle with adoption challenges that technical solutions alone cannot address effectively, requiring comprehensive change management support throughout implementation processes.
That combination could indeed provide significant client value. Perhaps we could schedule a follow-up conversation to explore specific collaboration frameworks and identify potential pilot project opportunities that demonstrate our combined capabilities.
Budget planning discussions require financial literacy, strategic thinking, and communication skills that translate organizational objectives into resource allocation decisions while maintaining fiscal responsibility and operational effectiveness.
These conversations balance competing priorities, resource constraints, and growth objectives, while requiring clear justification for expenditure requests and realistic assessment of expected returns on investment and organizational benefit creation.
Michael, we need to finalize our department budget proposal for the upcoming fiscal year. The executive team has requested detailed justification for all increases while demonstrating clear connections between proposed expenditures and organizational strategic objectives.
I've been analyzing our current resource allocation alongside projected growth requirements and emerging business opportunities. Several areas require additional investment to maintain competitive positioning while supporting planned expansion initiatives.
What specific investment priorities have you identified?
We need to present compelling cases for each proposed increase while demonstrating fiscal responsibility and expected return on investment that aligns with executive expectations and organizational financial parameters.
Technology infrastructure represents our highest priority, given the digital transformation requirements for maintaining client service excellence. Our current systems cannot support the expanded capacity and functionality requirements for projected growth scenarios.
Technology investments often generate measurable productivity improvements that justify initial expenditures through operational efficiency gains. What specific metrics can we provide to demonstrate expected returns and implementation timeline for proposed technology enhancements?
The preliminary analysis suggests 25% productivity improvements within 18 months, primarily through automation of routine processes and enhanced data analytics capabilities that improve decision-making speed and accuracy across multiple departments.
Those projections provide strong justification for technology investment. What other budget areas require attention? We should address all significant needs comprehensively rather than requesting additional resources throughout the fiscal year that create budget management challenges.
Professional development represents another critical investment area. Industry trends require continuous skill enhancement to maintain competitive capabilities, particularly in emerging technology applications and advanced client service delivery methodologies.
Crisis management communication requires immediate response capabilities, clear leadership, and strategic messaging that maintain stakeholder confidence while addressing emergency situations effectively and professionally.
These high-pressure situations test communication skills, decision-making abilities, and leadership competencies while requiring rapid coordination among multiple stakeholders with varying information needs and concern levels.
Sarah, we need to address the system outage situation immediately. Our primary client database has been offline for 3 hours, affecting customer service operations and potentially impacting our service level agreement commitments with major clients.
I understand the severity of this situation. What's our current assessment of the technical issue?
I understand the severity of this situation. What's our current assessment of the technical issues, and what timeline are our IT specialists projecting for full system restoration? We need accurate information to communicate effectively with affected stakeholders.
The technical team estimates 4 to 6 hours for complete restoration, assuming no additional complications emerge during the recovery process. However, they're implementing temporary workarounds that should restore limited functionality within the next 2 hours.
We need to notify affected clients immediately with transparent communication about the situation, expected resolution timeline, and interim measures we're implementing to minimize service disruption. Proactive communication demonstrates professionalism during challenging circumstances.
I agree completely. What key messages should we emphasize in our client communications? We want to acknowledge the inconvenience while demonstrating our commitment to resolution and future prevention of similar incidents.
Our communication should emphasize immediate action steps, realistic timeline expectations, and our comprehensive incident response procedures that minimize future recurrence probability. We should also offer additional support measures that demonstrate our commitment to client satisfaction.
I'll coordinate with our customer service team to ensure consistent messaging across all client interactions. We should also prepare a post-incident report that documents lessons learned and improvement measures that strengthen our system reliability and crisis response capabilities.
Excellent approach. Crisis situations often strengthen client relationships when handled professionally with transparent communication and effective resolution measures that demonstrate organizational competence and client commitment.
Innovation strategy discussions require creative thinking, market analysis, and strategic planning that balances innovative opportunities with practical implementation considerations and resource allocation requirements.
These forward-thinking conversations explore emerging trends, competitive positioning, and growth opportunities while requiring realistic assessment of organizational capabilities and market readiness for innovative solutions and service offerings. Michael, I'd like to explore innovative service offerings that could differentiate our organization while addressing emerging client needs in the evolving marketplace. Industry disruption creates opportunities for organizations that anticipate change proactively.
Innovation strategy requires careful balance between creative vision and practical implementation capabilities. We should examine market trends, client feedback patterns, and competitive developments that suggest promising innovation directions for our organizational strengths.
Recent client surveys indicate growing interest in sustainability consulting services and environmental impact assessment capabilities. This trend aligns with increasing regulatory requirements and corporate social responsibility initiatives across multiple industry sectors.
Sustainability consulting represents significant growth potential given our existing environmental expertise and client relationships. However, service development requires additional specialist capabilities and certification requirements that impact implementation timeline and resource allocation.
What specific competency gaps need addressing to establish credible sustainability consulting capabilities? We should develop comprehensive capability building plans that enable market entry with competitive service quality and professional credibility.
We need certified environmental specialists, updated regulatory knowledge, and specialized assessment tools that meet industry standards. Partnership opportunities with established environmental consulting firms could accelerate capability development while reducing initial investment requirements.
Strategic partnerships offer excellent approaches for capability expansion without excessive resource commitment. These relationships provide learning opportunities while building market presence that supports future independent service development when appropriate.
All research potential partnership organizations and develop preliminary collaboration frameworks for executive review. Innovation success requires strategic implementation that leverages existing strengths while building new capabilities systematically.
Customer service excellence conversations explore strategies for exceeding client expectations while building long-term relationships that support business growth and competitive advantage through superior service delivery.
These discussions examine service quality standards, client relationship management techniques, and customer satisfaction improvement strategies that create loyal client bases and positive reputation development within target markets.
Sarah, our client satisfaction scores have improved consistently over the past year, but we should explore additional strategies for achieving service excellence that distinguishes our organization within the competitive marketplace.
Customer service excellence requires comprehensive approaches that address every client interaction point while ensuring consistent quality delivery across all service channels and team members who represent our organizational brand and values.
What specific areas offer the greatest improvement potential?
What specific areas offer the greatest improvement potential? We should focus our enhancement efforts on initiatives that generate measurable client satisfaction improvements while supporting team effectiveness and operational efficiency.
Response time represents one area where improvements could significantly impact client perceptions. Many clients express frustration with delayed responses to inquiries, even when eventual service quality meets their expectations completely.
Response time improvements require system enhancements and process optimization that enable rapid acknowledgement while maintaining thorough service delivery. Technology solutions could automate initial responses while routing inquiries appropriately for specialized attention.
Automated acknowledgement systems provide immediate client assurance while enabling service teams to prioritize urgent requests and allocate appropriate time for complex inquiries that require detailed analysis and customized solutions.
We should also consider proactive communication strategies that anticipate client needs and provide updates before clients request information. Proactive service approaches often exceed expectations while reducing reactive support requirements.
Proactive communication demonstrates exceptional service commitment while building stronger client relationships through attentive service delivery that addresses needs comprehensively rather than responding only to explicit requests.
Team leadership development conversations focus on building management capabilities, communication skills, and strategic thinking that enables effective team coordination and organizational contribution at higher responsibility levels.
Leadership development requires comprehensive skill building that encompasses technical competency, interpersonal effectiveness, and strategic vision that enables successful team management and organizational leadership in challenging business environments.
Michael, your technical expertise and client relationship skills position you well for leadership responsibilities. We should discuss development opportunities that build management capabilities while leveraging your existing strengths and professional experience.
I appreciate your confidence in my leadership potential. Management effectiveness requires different skill sets than individual contributor success, particularly in areas like team motivation, conflict resolution, and strategic planning that impact multiple stakeholders simultaneously.
Leadership development programs often address these skill areas through combination of formal training, mentorship relationships, and graduated responsibility assignments that build competency progressively while providing support and feedback throughout the development process.
What specific development opportunities are available within our organization? I'm interested in programs that combine theoretical learning with practical application opportunities that enable skill building while contributing to organizational objectives.
We offer management training programs, executive coaching relationships, and project leadership assignments that provide comprehensive development experiences. Additionally, external conference attendance and professional association participation enhance leadership perspective and industry knowledge.
Comprehensive development approaches appeal to me because they address multiple competency areas while providing diverse learning experiences. What timeline would be appropriate for pursuing these development opportunities while maintaining my current project responsibilities and commitments?
Leadership development typically occurs over 12 to 18 months, with graduated responsibility increases that allow skill building without overwhelming existing commitments. This timeline enables thorough preparation while maintaining operational effectiveness and project quality standards.
That time frame seems realistic for building management competencies while maintaining excellence in my current role. I'm committed to pursuing leadership development that enhances my organizational contribution and career advancement potential.
International business communication requires cultural awareness, language sensitivity, and adaptation strategies that enable effective collaboration across diverse cultural contexts while maintaining professional effectiveness and relationship quality.
Global business environments demand sophisticated communication skills that bridge cultural differences while achieving business objectives through respectful interaction and strategic relationship building with international partners and clients.
Sarah, our expanding international client base requires enhanced cultural communication competencies. Different cultures approach business relationships, decision-making processes, and communication styles with varying expectations that impact project success.
Cultural awareness training could enhance our team's effectiveness when working with international clients. Understanding communication preferences, relationship-building approaches, and business etiquette expectations prevents misunderstandings while building stronger client partnerships.
What specific cultural considerations have emerged in our recent international projects? Identifying patterns in communication challenges could guide training priorities and development focus areas that address the most significant improvement opportunities.
Asian clients often prefer relationship building before business discussions, while European clients typically appreciate direct communication and efficient meeting structures. Understanding these preferences enables appropriate adaptation without compromising authentic professional interaction.
Adaptation strategies should maintain professional authenticity while demonstrating respect for cultural preferences. Successful international business requires balance between cultural sensitivity and consistent service quality that meets our organizational standards.
Cultural competency development could include language training for key team members, cultural awareness workshops, and mentorship relationships with colleagues who have extensive international experience and successful track records.
Comprehensive cultural competency development would strengthen our international capabilities while supporting team member professional growth. These investments in cultural awareness typically generate improved client satisfaction and expanded international business opportunities.
International business success requires long-term commitment to cultural competency development and relationship building that demonstrates genuine respect for diverse perspectives while maintaining consistent service excellence across all client relationships.
Today's comprehensive dialogue exploration has demonstrated essential business communication patterns that intermediate English learners require for professional success in diverse workplace environments and career advancement opportunities.
These authentic conversation examples provide practical models for professional interaction while illustrating vocabulary usage, communication strategies, and cultural considerations that distinguish effective business communication in competitive professional environments.
The scenarios we've examined reflect real workplace challenges that require sophisticated communication skills, strategic thinking, and professional competency that enables career advancement and organizational contribution at increasingly responsible levels.
Regular practice with these dialogue patterns builds confidence while developing intuitive understanding of business communication principles that enhance professional effectiveness and relationship-building capabilities across diverse workplace situations.
Professional communication excellence develops through consistent application of these principles while adapting to specific organizational cultures, industry requirements, and individual relationship dynamics that characterize successful business environments.
We encourage continued practice with these communication strategies while observing their impact on professional relationships, career advancement opportunities, and organizational contribution that demonstrates increasing leadership potential and business acumen.
Thank you for joining us for this comprehensive examination of business communication excellence through realistic professional dialogue examples that provide immediate, practical value for workplace application.
This is Sarah and Michael from Artificial Fluency, reminding you that professional communication skills create opportunities while building the relationships that sustain long-term career success and organizational contribution.
Hello! We're excited to present this comprehensive episode dedicated to environmental awareness and sustainable living practices for intermediate English learners who want to engage with one of today's most critical global issues.
Welcome to the Artificial Fluency Podcast. I'm Dr. Sarah Martinez, an environmental scientist, and together with my colleague James Thompson, we'll explore climate change, sustainability, and eco-friendly lifestyle choices while developing your intermediate English skills through meaningful environmental discourse.
I'm James Thompson, and I work as a sustainability consultant. Today's episode addresses environmental challenges that affect everyone on our planet, while providing essential vocabulary and communication strategies for discussing these urgent issues in both personal and professional contexts.
This hour-long discussion combines scientific accuracy with practical solutions, enabling listeners to understand complex environmental concepts while developing the language skills necessary for informed participation in environmental conversations and decision-making processes.
Environmental awareness has become increasingly critical as scientific evidence continues to demonstrate the profound impact of human activities on our planet's climate systems, biodiversity, and natural resources that sustain all life on Earth.
Climate change represents perhaps the most significant challenge of our time, requiring immediate global action and individual responsibility to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while adapting to environmental changes that are already occurring across diverse ecosystems worldwide.
Today's conversation will examine both the scientific foundations of environmental issues and practical solutions that individuals, communities, and organizations can implement to create positive environmental impact while building sustainable lifestyles for future generations.
Understanding environmental science enables informed decision-making about personal choices, political participation, and professional practices that either contribute to environmental problems or support sustainable solutions for our shared planetary future.
Sarah, let's begin by discussing the fundamental scientific concepts that explain climate change and environmental degradation. Many people hear these terms frequently, but may not fully understand the underlying mechanisms driving these global challenges.
Absolutely, James. Climate change results primarily from increased concentrations of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, particularly carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels, methane from agriculture and waste management, and nitrous oxide from industrial processes and fertilizer use.
Could you explain how the greenhouse effect actually works? I think many people understand it's important, but the scientific mechanism behind global warming can be quite complex for non-scientists to grasp fully.
The greenhouse effect involves solar radiation entering Earth's atmosphere and warming the planet's surface. Normally, some of this heat radiates back into space, but greenhouse gases trap this thermal energy, causing atmospheric temperatures to rise gradually over time.
That accumulation of heat energy has far-reaching consequences beyond just higher temperatures, doesn't it? We're seeing impacts on weather patterns, ocean systems, and ecosystem stability across the globe.
Exactly. Rising temperatures trigger cascading effects, including melting ice caps, rising sea levels, more frequent extreme weather events, shifting precipitation patterns, and disruption of seasonal cycles that many species depend on for survival and reproduction.
The interconnectedness of these environmental systems means that changes in one area can have unpredictable effects elsewhere. For example, Arctic ice melt affects ocean currents that influence weather patterns thousands of miles away.
Climate systems operate as complex networks where small changes can trigger significant consequences through feedback loops. Understanding these connections helps explain why environmental protection requires comprehensive, coordinated approaches rather than isolated interventions. James, sustainable living practices offer practical ways for individuals to reduce their environmental impact while often saving money and improving quality of life. What areas do you typically recommend people focus on first?
Energy consumption represents one of the most impactful areas for individual action. Simple changes like switching to LED lighting, improving home insulation, and adjusting thermostat settings can significantly reduce both energy bills and carbon emissions.
Transportation choices also provide substantial opportunities for environmental impact reduction. Walking, cycling, using public transportation, or choosing electric vehicles can dramatically decrease personal carbon footprints while often improving physical health and reducing transportation costs.
Food choices represent another powerful area for sustainable living. Reducing meat consumption, choosing locally produced foods, minimizing food waste, and growing some vegetables at home can significantly reduce environmental impact while supporting healthier diets.
Water conservation deserves attention as well, particularly in regions experiencing drought or water scarcity. Simple measures like fixing leaks, installing low-flow fixtures, and collecting rainwater for gardening can substantially reduce household water consumption.
Waste reduction through the reduce, reuse, recycle hierarchy helps minimize the environmental impact of consumption, while often saving money. Buying fewer items, repurposing materials creatively, and properly recycling materials prevents unnecessary resource extraction and pollution.
Consumer choices send powerful market signals to businesses about environmental priorities. Supporting companies with strong environmental practices and avoiding products with excessive packaging or harmful environmental impacts encourages broader corporate sustainability adoption.
The cumulative effect of individual actions, when adopted by millions of people, can drive significant environmental improvement, while demonstrating public support for policy changes that address environmental challenges at larger scales.
Sarah, renewable energy technologies have advanced dramatically over the past decade. Could you explain the current state of solar, wind, and other clean energy sources, and how they're transforming our energy systems?
Renewable energy costs have plummeted, making clean energy increasingly competitive with fossil fuels across many markets. Solar panel efficiency continues improving, while installation costs decrease, enabling widespread adoption for both residential and commercial applications.
Wind energy has also experienced remarkable growth, with offshore wind farms generating substantial electricity in many coastal regions. The technology has matured significantly, providing reliable power generation with minimal environmental impact compared to fossil fuel alternatives.
Battery storage technology advancement addresses the intermittency challenges associated with renewable energy sources. Improved energy storage enables solar and wind power to provide consistent electricity even when the sun isn't shining or wind isn't blowing.
Hydroelectric power continues providing clean energy in appropriate geographic locations, though environmental concerns about ecosystem disruption require careful consideration of dam placement and design to minimize negative impacts on river systems and wildlife.
Geothermal energy offers consistent, reliable power generation in regions with appropriate geological conditions. This technology provides both electricity generation and direct heating applications with minimal environmental impact and high reliability.
The transition to renewable energy creates economic opportunities through job creation in manufacturing, installation, and maintenance of clean energy systems, while reducing dependence on volatile fossil fuel markets and improving energy security.
Government policies, including tax incentives, renewable energy standards, and carbon pricing mechanisms, accelerate clean energy adoption while creating market conditions that favor sustainable energy development over fossil fuel dependence.
James, urban planning and sustainable cities represent crucial areas for environmental progress. How are cities implementing green infrastructure and sustainable development practices to reduce their environmental impact?
Green building standards like LEED certification encourage energy-efficient construction, sustainable materials usage, and water conservation in new developments, while retrofitting existing buildings improves environmental performance of urban infrastructure.
Urban transportation systems increasingly emphasize public transit, cycling infrastructure, and pedestrian-friendly design that reduces automobile dependence while improving air quality and promoting healthier, more active lifestyles for city residents.
Green spaces, including parks, community gardens, and urban forests, provide multiple environmental benefits, including air purification, stormwater management, biodiversity habitat, and temperature regulation that make cities more livable and resilient.
Waste management innovations in cities include composting programs, improved recycling systems, and waste-to-energy facilities that reduce landfill dependence while generating renewable energy from organic waste materials.
Smart city technologies optimize resource usage through intelligent traffic management, energy-efficient lighting systems.
Smart city technologies optimize resource usage through intelligent traffic management, energy-efficient lighting systems, and data-driven infrastructure management that reduces environmental impact while improving service delivery to residents.
Water management systems in sustainable cities include rainwater harvesting, graywater recycling, and permeable surfaces that reduce stormwater runoff while conserving water resources and preventing flooding during extreme weather events.
Community engagement programs educate residents about sustainable practices while encouraging participation in environmental initiatives that create collective impact beyond what individuals can achieve independently.
Mixed-use development reduces transportation needs by integrating residential, commercial, and office spaces within walkable neighborhoods that support sustainable lifestyles while building stronger community connections.
Sarah, biodiversity loss represents another critical environmental challenge that often receives less attention than climate change. Could you explain why biodiversity matters and what's driving the current extinction crisis?
Biodiversity encompasses the variety of life on Earth, including species diversity, genetic diversity within species, and ecosystem diversity. This biological variety provides essential services, including pollination, water purification, soil formation, and climate regulation that support human civilization.
The current rate of species extinction exceeds natural background rates by hundreds or thousands of times, primarily due to habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, invasive species, and overexploitation of natural resources.
Habitat fragmentation from urban development, agriculture expansion, and infrastructure construction isolates wildlife populations, making them more vulnerable to environmental changes and reducing genetic diversity necessary for species adaptation and survival.
Pollution affects biodiversity through multiple pathways, including water contamination that kills aquatic species, air pollution that damages plant health, and plastic pollution that harms marine animals through ingestion and entanglement.
Mixed-use development reduces transportation needs by integrating residential, commercial, and office spaces within walkable neighborhoods that support sustainable lifestyles while building stronger community connections.
Sarah, biodiversity loss represents another critical environmental challenge that often receives less attention than climate change. Could you explain why biodiversity matters and what's driving the current extinction crisis?
Biodiversity encompasses the variety of life on Earth, including species diversity, genetic diversity within species, and ecosystem diversity. This biological variety provides essential services including pollination, water purification, soil formation, and climate regulation that support human civilization.
The current rate of species extinction exceeds natural background rates by hundreds or thousands of times, primarily due to habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, invasive species, and overexploitation of natural resources.
Habitat fragmentation from urban development, agriculture expansion, and infrastructure construction isolates wildlife populations, making them more vulnerable to environmental changes and reducing genetic diversity necessary for species adaptation and survival.
Pollution affects biodiversity through multiple pathways, including water contamination that kills aquatic species, air pollution that damages plant health, and plastic pollution that harms marine animals through ingestion and entanglement.
Climate change shifts temperature and precipitation patterns faster than many species can adapt, forcing wildlife to migrate to new habitats or face extinction. These changes particularly affect specialized species with narrow habitat requirements.
Conservation efforts focus on protecting remaining wild habitats, restoring degraded ecosystems, controlling invasive species, and reducing human pressures on natural systems through sustainable resource management practices.
Protected areas, including national parks, nature reserves, and marine sanctuaries, provide safe havens for wildlife while supporting ecosystem research and environmental education that builds public appreciation for biodiversity conservation.
Citizen science projects engage the public in biodiversity monitoring while contributing valuable data for conservation research and management decisions that protect endangered species and threatened ecosystems.
James, corporate sustainability has become increasingly important as businesses recognize their environmental responsibilities and the business benefits of sustainable practices.
What trends are you seeing in corporate environmental initiatives?
Many companies now set science-based targets for carbon emissions reduction, aligning their climate goals with the levels necessary to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius as outlined in international climate agreements.
Circular economy principles guide business model innovation toward designing out waste, keeping products and materials in use, and regenerating natural systems rather than following traditional, linear take, make, dispose approaches.
Supply chain sustainability involves evaluating and improving environmental practices throughout product life cycles, from raw material extraction through manufacturing, distribution, use, and end-of-life management.
Environmental reporting and transparency enable stakeholders to assess corporate environmental performance while creating accountability for sustainability commitments and progress toward environmental goals.
Green financing includes sustainability-linked loans, green bonds, and environmental criteria in investment decisions that direct capital toward environmentally beneficial projects while divesting from harmful activities.
Employee engagement in sustainability initiatives creates internal champions for environmental practices while building corporate culture that values environmental responsibility and innovation in sustainable solutions.
Product innovation focuses on developing goods and services with reduced environmental impact throughout their life cycles, from energy-efficient technologies to biodegradable materials and reusable designs.
Stakeholder collaboration brings together businesses, governments, NGOs, and communities to address environmental challenges that require coordinated action beyond what any single organization can achieve independently.
Sarah, environmental policy and governance play crucial roles in addressing global environmental challenges. How do international agreements, national policies, and local regulations work together to protect environmental systems?
The Paris Climate Agreement represents the most significant international effort to coordinate global climate action, with countries setting nationally determined contributions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while adapting to climate change impacts.
National environmental policies include regulations on air and water quality, protected area designation, renewable energy standards, and carbon pricing mechanisms that create frameworks for environmental protection and sustainable development.
Local governments often lead environmental innovation through policies like plastic bag bans, composting requirements, green building codes, and urban forest protection that demonstrate effective environmental management at community scales.
Environmental justice considerations ensure that pollution burdens and environmental benefits are distributed fairly across different communities, addressing historical inequities in environmental policy implementation and enforcement.
International trade agreements increasingly include environmental provisions that prevent countries from lowering environmental standards to gain competitive advantages while promoting global adoption of sustainable practices.
Carbon pricing mechanisms, including carbon taxes and cap-and-trade systems, create economic incentives for emissions reduction while generating revenue for climate adaptation and clean energy investments.
Environmental impact assessments require evaluation of potential environmental consequences before approving major development projects, ensuring that environmental considerations are integrated into planning and decision-making processes.
Public participation in environmental policy development ensures that diverse perspectives and local knowledge inform environmental management decisions while building public support for environmental protection measures.
James, environmental education and awareness building are essential for creating the informed citizenry necessary to address environmental challenges. How can we effectively communicate environmental science and inspire environmental action?
Environmental education should combine scientific accuracy with emotional connection, helping people understand both the factual basis of environmental issues and their personal stake in environmental protection and sustainable living.
Storytelling approaches make complex environmental concepts more accessible by connecting scientific information to human experiences, local examples, and concrete consequences that people can understand and relate to personally.
Hands-on learning experiences, including nature walks, gardening projects, energy audits, and citizen science participation, engage multiple senses while building practical knowledge and emotional connections to environmental issues.
Positive messaging that emphasizes solutions, success stories, and individual agency encourages environmental action, rather than creating despair or helplessness that can lead to disengagement from environmental issues.
Community-based education programs address local environmental challenges while building local capacity for environmental monitoring, problem-solving, and advocacy that creates lasting environmental improvements.
Media literacy helps people evaluate environmental information critically, distinguishing between credible scientific sources and misinformation, while understanding how different interests might influence environmental messaging.
Intergenerational learning brings together different age groups to share environmental knowledge, experiences, and perspectives, while building mutual understanding and collaborative approaches to environmental challenges.
Cultural sensitivity ensures that environmental education respects diverse values, traditions, and ways of life, while finding common ground for environmental protection that transcends cultural differences.
Sarah, technology and innovation offer promising solutions for environmental challenges, but they also raise questions about unintended consequences and technological fixes versus systemic change. How do we evaluate environmental technologies responsibly?
Life cycle assessment helps evaluate the total environmental impact of technologies from raw material extraction through manufacturing, use, and disposal, ensuring that solutions don't simply shift environmental problems to different stages or locations.
Emerging technologies like carbon capture and storage, advanced nuclear power, and geoengineering proposals require careful evaluation of potential benefits, risks, and ethical implications before widespread deployment.
Biomimicry approaches seek technological solutions inspired by natural systems that have evolved efficient and sustainable approaches to challenges like energy conversion, material construction, and waste processing.
Precision agriculture technologies, including GPS-guided equipment, soil sensors, and drone monitoring, enable more efficient resource use while reducing environmental impacts from fertilizer and pesticide applications.
Artificial intelligence applications in environmental management include optimizing energy systems, predicting environmental changes, and analyzing complex environmental data to improve decision-making and resource allocation.
However, technological solutions must complement rather than replace fundamental changes in consumption patterns, energy systems, and economic structures that drive environmental degradation.
Democratic participation in technology assessment ensures that communities affected by environmental technologies have input into development and deployment decisions that affect their health and environment.
Precautionary principles suggest careful evaluation and gradual implementation of new environmental technologies while monitoring for unintended consequences that might emerge over time.
James, individual environmental action sometimes feels overwhelming given the scale of global environmental challenges. How can people maintain motivation and effectiveness in their personal environmental efforts?
Starting with manageable changes builds confidence and habits that enable progressively greater environmental action over time. Small successes create momentum for larger lifestyle changes and sustained environmental engagement.
Community involvement amplifies individual impact while providing social support, shared learning, and collective action opportunities that achieve environmental improvements beyond what individuals can accomplish alone.
Tracking environmental impact through carbon footprint calculators, energy monitoring, or waste measurement provides concrete feedback about the effectiveness of environmental actions while identifying areas for improvement.
Connecting environmental action to personal values, health benefits, and cost savings creates multiple motivations for sustainable living that persist even when environmental concern fluctuates.
Learning continuously about environmental issues, solutions, and success stories maintains engagement while building knowledge that enables more effective environmental action and advocacy.
Advocating for systemic change through voting, political participation, and consumer choices addresses structural barriers to environmental protection that limit the effectiveness of individual action alone.
Celebrating environmental achievements and recognizing progress builds positive associations with environmental action while maintaining optimism necessary for sustained engagement with challenging environmental issues.
Teaching others and sharing environmental knowledge multiplies individual impact while building community capacity for environmental protection and sustainable living practices.
Sarah, looking toward the future, what developments in environmental science, technology, and policy give you the most hope for addressing global environmental challenges effectively?
Renewable energy cost reductions and rapid deployment worldwide demonstrate that clean energy transition is not only possible, but economically advantageous, creating momentum for accelerated decarbonization across all sectors.
Young people's environmental activism and engagement provide tremendous hope for sustained political pressure and innovative solutions that address environmental challenges with urgency and creativity.
Scientific advances in understanding environmental systems enable more precise and effective interventions, while monitoring technologies provide real-time feedback about environmental conditions and improvement efforts.
Business innovation in sustainable technologies, circular economy practices, and environmental services creates economic incentives for environmental protection, while demonstrating that profitability and sustainability can be compatible.
International cooperation on environmental issues, despite political challenges, continues advancing through scientific collaboration, technology sharing, and coordinated policy development that addresses global environmental challenges.
Community-led environmental initiatives worldwide demonstrate human creativity, resilience, and commitment to environmental protection, while developing locally appropriate solutions for diverse environmental challenges.
James, as we conclude today's discussion, what key messages would you like our listeners to remember about environmental challenges and their role in creating positive environmental change?
Environmental challenges are serious and urgent, but they are solvable through combination of individual action, community engagement, technological innovation, and policy change that addresses environmental issues comprehensively.
Every person can contribute meaningfully to environmental protection through daily choices, political participation, and lifestyle adaptations that collectively create significant environmental impact when adopted widely.
Environmental action often provides multiple benefits, including cost savings, health improvements, and community building that enhance quality of life while protecting environmental systems for future generations.
Hope for environmental progress comes from recognizing the tremendous human capacity for innovation, cooperation, and positive change when people understand challenges clearly and have opportunities for meaningful action.
Environmental protection requires sustained commitment and continuous learning, but the effort creates lasting benefits for both human societies and natural systems that support all life on Earth.
Starting environmental action today, regardless of previous engagement level, contributes to positive environmental momentum while building knowledge and habits that enable greater environmental impact over time.
Environmental challenges connect all people across geographic, cultural, and economic boundaries, creating opportunities for cooperation and shared purpose that transcend traditional divisions and conflicts.
Future generations depend on environmental action taken today, making environmental responsibility both a practical necessity and a moral obligation that defines our legacy for the planet we share.
Today's comprehensive exploration of environmental awareness and sustainable living has demonstrated the complexity of environmental challenges while highlighting the numerous opportunities for positive environmental action at individual, community, and societal levels.
Understanding environmental science enables informed decision-making about personal choices and political participation while building appreciation for the interconnected systems that sustain life on our planet.
Sustainable living practices provide practical pathways for reducing environmental impact while often improving quality of life through cost savings, health benefits, and community connections that enhance overall well-being.
Environmental challenges require coordinated action across all sectors of society, but individual contributions remain essential for creating the collective change necessary to address global environmental issues effectively.
The environmental vocabulary and concepts discussed today enable participation in environmental conversations while building a foundation for continued learning about environmental issues and solutions.
We encourage listeners to apply environmental knowledge through daily choices, community engagement, and political participation that creates positive environmental impact while inspiring others to join environmental protection efforts.
Thank you for joining us for this important discussion about environmental awareness and sustainable living. Continue learning about environmental issues while taking action that protects our shared planetary home.
This is Dr. Sarah Martinez and James Thompson from Artificial Fluency, reminding you that environmental protection is both a global responsibility and a personal opportunity to create positive change for present and future generations.